Excellent. Okay, so yeah, the question being, so how do you make yourself stronger then, Lucky? You know, I know it's easy, it's easier than said, you know, but how do you make yourself stronger? Give us an example.
I think stronger is relative. So if you haven't seen any hardship in your life, then what happens is when something hard does come up, it seems like a massive obstacle. So a lot of people that I know and met over the many years, anybody that's been through a trauma, a massive illness. So some people carry illnesses through all their lives, but when you talk to them, they talk as if nothing's happened to them. You can't even tell they've got any sort of trauma or something that's an ailment that they may be able to disguise. So I think once you've been through something like that, then you build a thicker outer skin, so much so that anything that happens won't really perturb you because a friend of mine, she had an accident, car accident, when she was very small.
Very sorry to hear that. What, recently?
When she was small, and then it took about, and she was nearly died. So I think it took about 10 years of physiotherapy, and she was hospitalized.
Amazing.
To be able to overcome that. So once you've been through something like that, everything else in life probably seems like a bed of roses because you've got a different bar or a moral, let's say, a compass in terms of where the pain can be for you. Whereas somebody that's not seen pain like that, they're not, when something small comes up, they're going to be literally going around in circles or getting over emotional about it because their pain threshold or in an emotional level is set at a different level. So I think unfortunately, fortunately, if you go through things and they're not down to you, but due to circumstances, you may have an illness. Another friend of mine's had MS for about 10 years, and they learned to.
LMS? What's that?
MS is a sort of
disease multi-sclerosis.
Yeah, it makes you feel very weak and low energy, and so you need drugs to potentially deal with it. So she had that for about 10 years. So I think it changes people. So your circumstances changes for you. It may be for the better. It could also be for the worse. But a lot of people that survive those sort of things build a very strong outer skin. So when things do come up, which are actually really significant or really tough, they've got the metal to be able to deal with them. And I think
okay, I'm going to ask you a drill down a question because having a thicker outer skin, I mean, in the words of having a thick skin, is probably associated more with being a bit probably a bit, how would you say, a bit naive? No, not naive, but
bit arrogant.
No, I wouldn't say it's arrogant. I think it's probably more on the side of ignorant to things which matter to your self-respect, or, for example, you could, most of the entertainment fraternity. So, people who are in the public domain, the actors, or they're entertainers, have got a thick skin because a lot of stuff about their private lives, the private, stuff that they don't want to share, it's not really meant for the public to know about, is out there. and yet they still can get up and face the crowd the next day because they have a thick skin. Now, is that the same as having the thick skin you're talking about, which is internal strength to be able to absorb trauma or the obstacles that will give you a pain because you know how to perceive of the the fundamentals of that pain or the obstacles?
Just have to repeat that question because I'm getting a few disturbances in the background. Sorry about this.
You're getting disturbances in the background, right? Okay, I will repeat it again. Having a thick skin, Lakhi Singh, normally sort of like implies somebody is a bit, how would you say it? A bit too. Okay, let's say people from the entertainment industry, people in the films, singers, entertainers, people in the public domain, politicians who get caught doing silly things and they're embarrassed. Their public life is out in the private lives and the public domain. They get embarrassed about it. But when it comes to the perception of those things, they can dust those things off as if it doesn't matter, and they're so engulfed in wanting to stay in front of the camera in the public domain that they can quite easily brush it aside and not look at the actual implications of the self-respect or the image it gives to the people around them. That's what thick skin would imply. But my question is, are you saying it's more about internal strength, that people have gone through trauma or some obstacle that's hurt them or damaged them, and they become internally strong enough to recognize the critical points in that obstacle and address them without getting flustered?
Yeah, I think I would agree that more about internal strength. So, I think the term being thick skin means that obviously if you're internally stronger, when things happen around you, you're not so susceptible to be caught up in other things that are around you, and you're not going to take them maybe as seriously as you would otherwise. So you're going
Okay.
to be in a better
So what
position
you're
to,
saying is thick skin really is about internal thick skin.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
yeah. I think I probably not phrased it as well as I could, but yeah, I think having some sort of tough situation in life to deal with, maybe difficult childhood, abusive parents, um, some sort of a health issue or a setback that you've had to then learn how to overcome. What I'm saying is that will bring your internal strength up, and that will probably give you a stronger, like a outer layer, because you're not really going to be caught up in so much emotions about things which may not be such big issues, but you're going to be dealing them in a completely different level. So I mean, the loss
well,
of a
you
job.
say, I mean, you've mentioned on various occasions you're a bit of a spiritual individual. We're talking about you walking through grass, without your shoes on, and seeing, things that were going to happen, and they came true. But finding yourself at one with the universe, that's what we can sort of class it as. What do you say then? Is it important to have a sense of spirituality to make you stronger to obstacles and the things that you find in your way in life? Or do you think it's just about experience?
think it's a combination. I think having praying or being spiritual is a way of sort of understanding that you need to be happy within your soul, within your prayers, with your godliness. If you've got that, if you can move into detachment, it means that things around you, by their very nature, when they come to you, you're not going to get so emotionally caught up with them that they're going to take you away from the realms of godliness, because you can people go off the rails into they have a problem. In the Western culture, people take to drink or to drugs or do things which are really going to be bad for them because they're easily done.
I'm gonna get onto that topic again because yes, it could happen, couldn't it? You could lose your business, and whilst lockdown is on, there's lots of stories of people sort of losing their mental health, etc., becoming a bit schizophrenic, etc. So, how do you think the RAC model could help them in rejuvenating their contact base, irrespective of what they want to use it for? They may not want to help people. They may just want to make lots of connections with people across the country, with people they know, people in their database from before. How do you think is the RAC program? Is that a good way of using a label or an identity to give yourself that bit of self-esteem to say, look, I'm actually, I'm an RAC, I'm a rescue associate, and I've got, solutions, and without having to have the solutions, but it's a good way of feeling that you are important and you got something to offer other people. Is that a good way of building up the self-esteem, Lakhi? What do you say?
I think definitely. I think you have to away from yourself into connect. Because it's very easy to wallow in self pity and self-absorption and um, self analysis and self paralysis. All these, anything that's to do with self is very uh, very negative in some ways because you're just really getting caught up in your emotions. I think taking action and doing something maybe for others, it will take you away from your own woes. But if you can do something like that, it's not only going to help you to create more connections, give you a better feeling about yourself and what you're doing, your self-worth. It's also going to help you to invigorate other people's lives. I think once you start doing that, that in itself is quite a good therapy for getting yourself psychologically in delivery mode and moving into a positive mode of actually doing things. So I think everything begins with action. So
that's true.
And I think then once you get the action going, you need to get people that you know in your circle that you feel you can help or you can talk to. So it's an excellent way of actually doing something that's actually productive. Just not talking to people for the sake of talking. You're ringing them up and saying, look, we're helping people with all manner of issues if you can help. Whether it's a business matter, legal matter, property matter, even a health matter. We've got all manner of people coming onto this community who've got